It's time. Today we're doing a full spoiler review of the Twisted series by Huang. Sorry, okay, whatever. We're gonna go through my thoughts of the series as a whole, and then I'm gonna go into each book individually, give you my quick thoughts, my review, my complaints. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna try and keep it short. On my page, I have a spoiler-free review, so if you're looking to maybe read the series, maybe not, go watch that and make your own conclusions off of my thoughts there. Let me pull up my notes here. I have a lot. I hope I'm not the only one who thinks this, but if I had to read the word seared one more time, Anna, girl, every page, every other sentence, his touch seared past my skin and into my bones. His gaze seared a path as he took my body in from head to toe. His kiss seared straight into my heart. His touch seared right through my clothes. Seared this, seared that, seared the other thing. There is something called the thesaurus. You're allowed to legally use that. I feel so impressed with how every single book made it through her editor and publisher. Do they not have reviewers? Do they not have someone to read the series as a whole? I don't know if she dropped each book one by one individually, but like by the second book, I'm even questioning, does she know how to use any other descriptive word other than the word seared? If I had $1 for every time she used the word seared, I'd probably never have to complain again because I'd be filthy rich. I was shocked, and on top of that, I was double shocked that I had never heard anybody talk about this before. The only book that didn't abuse the word seared, and it was definitely still in there, it was still in there probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 times, was the last one, Twisted Lies. I don't think I'll ever be able to hear the word seared again without my insides literally going into a boil. I'm so confused. I feel like you can have your favorite words, but as an author, if you're describing every touch, every gaze, every glance with the word seared, what's the point of having all the other words on earth? I'm like disappointed. That's my one biggest complaint about the whole series. Another thing I didn't appreciate was that every male character seemed to be the same person in a way. Like they all had little things to make them obviously be like different, like their jobs, their pasts, but they all used the same vocabulary. They all used the same descriptive words when they talked. They all seemed to have the same bone structure, like same skeleton on the inside, but like, is that a stupid metaphor? Don't get me wrong, I had my favorites. Still, I was so disappointed. I was like, the kink situation, I kind of get it, because as an author, you kind of write to what's most desirable to you, you know, but the fact that all the men were like dominant alphas and like super controlling and like the girls were all like extremely submissive, I was kind of like bored. I feel like I read this one specific phrase, which I didn't highlight and I don't actually want to remember, but I read that same phrase in every single book. In every single book, you have this opportunity to make these different people, different brains, different ways of thinking, but they're all the same. What? Genuinely, it felt like they were just variants of each other. Like in Loki, they're kind of all the same, but they're not. Like, that's what it was. They're just variants of each other. The girls were pretty different, actually. Can't complain about that. The girls were all individual, unique in their own way. I like that there was more of a sense of individuality within them, even though they were the friend group. They were the core of the whole, you know, universe. In terms of the books as a whole, and I have my separate things, we'll go into them individually in a second, but I'll just give you my order of my favorite book to my least favorite book. Least favorite, Twisted Hate. Obviously, I feel like, duh, if you read the series and Twisted Hate is not on the bottom, I'm going to question you. Twisted Love is third, Twisted Games, and Twisted Lies is first. I knew Twisted Lies was going to be my favorite after I read the synopsis because there's something about a hacker, stalker, kind of like on the low that is always like looking after you, watching after you, that attracts me in a weird way. So I knew it was gonna be my favorite, and it was. But let's talk about the characters in order of who were my favorites. Number 8, okay, this roster is individual to me only, so don't get defensive. Jules. I liked her when she was in her friend group. I like that she's a girl's girl. I like that she's driven. I don't discredit her past, obviously, but she was insufferable in Twisted Hate, and every single snippet we got of her in Twisted Love, in Twisted Games. How are you still so annoying? Will you ever hit a maturity point? Keep her away from me at all costs. Then we have Josh. Josh was specifically agitating in Twisted Hate as well. Then we have Ava. I feel like she's extremely passive, almost like a bland character. Can't complain too much though. She's the OG. Stella, big fan. At this point, everyone from here I like love. Reese, which by the way, Reese is pronounced Reese. The whole book I'm pronouncing him Rice, and then towards the end I was like, oh, it's probably not rice, it's rye. It's like rye bread. Like I was like, oh, it's rye. No, I googled it after I was done, and his name is Reese, pronounced Reese, spelled not Reese. Reese, Christian, Bridget, Alex. Now, why is Christian not at number 1? I feel like Alex is harder to crack than Christian was. His character felt a little bit more stable throughout the story, a little bit more consistent, whereas Christian was like this like hard, mean exterior guy, and then all of a sudden he's like in Stella's lap, curled up. You know what I'm saying? So I like the consistency of Alex's character throughout the book, and all 4 books, he was still Alex. Meanwhile, every other guy changed so drastically, so Alex's felt a little bit more realistic to me, and that's why he's my favorite character. Okay, let's start with each individual book review. We'll start with Twisted Love, Alex and Ava. Some of the stuff that Alex did gave me the ick. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I know you're probably thinking, oh, the singing scene. Well, the singing scene was so bad for me that I had to actually stop, close the book, rewire my brain and thought process to actually imagine him actually singing very well, almost impressively well, for me to be able to digest that part of the story. So the singing part wasn't actually that bad for me. The worst part for me was the fact that he called Ava Sunshine every other word. Maybe it's because I don't necessarily love the pet name or endearing term Sunshine. I actually hate it. But the fact that he was like, yes, Sunshine, don't worry, Sunshine, what's wrong, Sunshine? Like, every single thing he said to her ended in Sunshine. Or he started with Sunshine. I'm like, I can't, I'm gagging. It sounded tacky, and maybe I'm a hater, but that was my one thing about Alex where I was like, out of every book, this one wasn't my fave. Because I was a little bit scared at times, I'll be honest. So I wrote in my notes that the more time that went by after I finished the book, the more I actually liked Alex's character, and like he kept moving up my ranks. If it wasn't for his cringy dialogue, I would love him so much, irrevocably so. Let me look up what irrevocably means, because I feel like I've used it wrong. The dialogue, like it just threw me off the whole book. Like every other thing that he would say, I'd be like, he grew on me. He's damaged, and he's perfectly hateful, and I'm obsessed with a hateful person. Next book. Twisted Games. Alright. Reese and Bridget loved their book. Literally obsessed with their book. Couldn't complain about much. I actually don't have any complaints about this story, this book, other than the Reese name. The spelling is like stupid. Why would you do that? The smut for this book had me looking around like, is anyone else reading this right now? Like, I loved that this book had the most storyline. Like, I love that a lot of it was them not being able to be together. The sneaking around fed me. Loved Bridget's character. She's up there for me. She really is. There's nothing I can complain about her. Like, honestly, she didn't make a single stupid decision the whole time. I love the pet name in this book because it not only was cute, like Princess is really cute, but it worked because she was a princess, like literally. That was really cute, and I like that he like kept it up even after she was queen, like so cute and realistic. This book was written in such a detail-oriented way that I don't think anyone could do it justice if it were to come on the big screen. I really feel like it was just too good. Like everything was so slight that it was perfect. I don't know how to explain that. It just felt so real. I think I read this book in like 3 days. It took me the shortest amount of time to read out of every book in the series. I couldn't put it down. I was at work blacked out. I could not focus. I was like in the universe in my head, like typing random stuff on my computer. Like, I don't even have it with me right now physically because I already shipped it off to someone for them to read because I'm like, you would love this book individually. Like, don't read the rest of the series, but this book only, you would love it. Third book, Twisted Hate. Let's get into it. I have a lot to complain about. I didn't like how much I was cringing. It was taking a physical toll on my body. Some of the stuff Josh was saying was making my skin crawl, no joke. I can't complain about the fact that he's cocky and he knows who he is and stuff, but some of the dialogue was like so poor that it was so distracting. The storyline felt forced. It felt like Anna was pairing them together because there was nobody else. So there was like no plot to this book. The drama with her getting blackmailed and that creepy guy and Josh dealing with his daddy issues was so far on the back burner that it was like almost pointless. And I was like, if you're gonna make it an enemies to lovers solely based on the romance, just do that. Don't add any of the stupid stuff in there because it just felt like stupid. The smut in this book wasn't really good. I think only like 5% of the smut in this book or dialogue in this book actually gave me butterflies. Comparing it to Reese and Bridget's story, it makes this book seem like pathetic. Even just looking at the smut. The whole blackmail situation with Jules. Let me talk about the fact that she made me angry, okay? The fact that she hid a lick on Josh's apartment, hid it from him, and then was like, oh my gosh, I feel so guilty. Like, you're dumb. The part where she came to him and like told him the truth and they had like hate sex, it was actually the ugliest scene I've ever read in a book. It wasn't like hate sex in the Mindfuck series with St. Abby, although that hate sex was a little bit ugly too. This was like genuinely triggering. I felt so violated. I'll be honest, I don't like Josh at all. I like the cabin scene with the period cramps and the lavender. That was really cute. I also liked the scene where Josh took her on a date and like really thought it out and like planned it. That was really cute. I hated his pet name for her, Red. I really thought it was like a teasing situation like JR was, but the fact that it stuck through to the end and he genuinely was like trying to be endearing with calling her Red. Oh, I liked Josh and Alex's relationship in the book. That was really cute. I actually liked their relationship more than Josh and Jules. Like when he asked him to be his, what is that? Man of honor? No. Best man. This is obviously number 4 in ranking of all the books in the series. But is it the worst book I've ever read? No. 4th book, last book, fave book, Twisted Lies. I love the characters. There's something about a man being so entirely and violently obsessed with his girlfriend that I eat up every single time. The stalker situation was a trip. I was not expecting it to be that journalist guy. That was crazy. The cabin scene was freaky. The scene where Christian and him like were having their one-on-one. It was really cute where Stella was like, don't give him a piece of your soul. I love a violent man within reason. Am I sick in the head? Yeah. So proud of Stella for becoming a designer. I was rooting for her the entire book. I think her and Bridget, I was just like so enthralled with them as individuals that I'm like cheering them on so hard the whole time. I'm happy that she found her individuality too, like her little corner in the world, and she just wasn't swallowed up by Christian being a CEO and like this rich billionaire guy. So I'm happy that she's her own person in the relationship and she's got her own things going on. I love that. I loved Christian and Stella's relationship, but I didn't enjoy how like for 3/4 of the book she was like scared trying to get him to open up. I'm like, girl, why are you walking on eggshells around him? Like, ask the big hitters. Like, get to the core, girl. Don't beat around the bush. Go for it. He's like obsessed with you. Like, she was like scared he was gonna get angry and like snap, and I'm like, do it. Do it. The family drama in this book was so real. Also, this book and Twisted Games made me want a bodyguard so bad. Not to fall in love with or anything, but just to feel safe. Just to feel like someone is always like having my back in public and like watching out for anything that could happen to me. I want to feel safe. The end of the book where they had a baby girl. My heart was like pounding against my ribcage. I was so happy for them. The adrenaline I was feeling was like stupid. Also, I really like that she was able to make amends with her family, because that's what you want. Like, you can have a psycho family, but at your core, there's like limits to this obviously, but at your core you're always going to want to make amends with your family. You're always going to want to be on good ground with them. So I'm happy that she got that part. That's all the thoughts really I have written down for this series. I gave Twisted Love 3.5 out of 5 stars. I gave Twisted Games 4.5 out of 5 stars. Twisted Hate 2.5 out of 5 stars, and Twisted Lies 4.5 out of 5 stars. There goes my spoiler review of the entire Twisted series by Anna Huang. I think I'm gonna read a fantasy series next, so I'm not too sure what my next book review is gonna be. I'm gonna be honest, because right now I am reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, which is a psychology book, and I'm learning a lot from it. It's really feeding into my life, feeding into my soul. I tried to read it originally in 2020, and I had a panic attack on chapter 2 because it was reading me word for word. So I'm diving into it this time with a healed soul, and it's actually very insightful because I don't have any emotional reaction to it. I'm loving it. but my only concern is I don't think I'd be able to summarize it effectively enough into a book review video, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that yet. I'm highlighting it and I'm underlining some good stuff in there, but I'm not taking notes, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna make a book review on it, even though it would be the most important book review to make. So honestly, I'm just gonna say right now, like, everybody should be reading this book. Everybody on earth should be reading this book. So yeah, I don't know what's to come, but thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts on the series are if you've read it. If you didn't and you watched this spoiler review anyway, I don't know what to tell you, girl.